I'm Sara Allis. I am the Reading Interventionist and Literacy Coach here at Great Works School, and I get to co-teach Woodland and Wonder, our outdoor classroom program.
I'm Wendy Shaw. I also am involved in reading intervention here at Great Works School, and on Thursday we get to co-teach together Woodland and Wonder. Like when we go out for Woodland and Wonder, sometimes we're just building shelters. Sometimes they just have we have these kits that we bought that have binoculars and magnifying glasses, and they love using them. They'll just want, as long as they know their parameters, as far as boundaries go, they just enjoy being outside. And I think that's something that is different. We're outside all the time. They are not. And so I think schools are hopefully realizing more and more that is just such an integral aspect of our youth growing up, from a social emotional level to a curiosity level, a questioning, science, all of those things can be tapped into very easily. Everything can happen outside. Math, science, literacy, it's just, but it takes a lot to look at your curriculum and make the adjustments you need to in order for that to happen. And REV has allowed teachers to develop those units of instruction, and that's just so amazing.
I mean, I think you need a team of people who are passionate and believe in what you believe, and whether they have to be that leader or have a leader that helps them do that, because I think that has been the key to our success. That we many years ago, our principal asked us to create our dream school, and so we had a lot of people who value nature and being outside and what that does for kids, and so we could all be oh, we're all into this, and then we have a team of people who just step up and really help make things happen. So even if there isn't money, we can all bushwhack and clear branches and bring in wood chips to make an outdoor classroom space. But if you're trying to do that by yourself, it's going to feel really frustrating and overwhelming. So find a core group of people, and then use community resources. Our PTO will help us a ton. Even just our school board being supportive, we know we can go and kind of talk about this and get community people excited and tap into those resources. There are local businesses even before REV with this pavilion, local businesses that will come and help us build things and not give us supplies at cost, and maybe not charge us for all of their work. We work with a tree company who gives us, anytime we need wood chips, he's bringing us wood chips, or stumps, and and just people beyond our school believe that this is important for kids, and so you just have to kind of maybe do some hustling to figure out who those people are, and then just become a team with them and collaborate, because they, if it's good for kids and you're making things happen at school, it's going to impact for years to come, and that's just better for our whole community. That's why we are teachers, right? That we know this ripple effect happens, and that it might not happen for every kid right here, but someday they might be oh, remember when I did that ropes course challenge course, and it can be lots of different things, but it's hopefully going to stick with them for years.
I would say having a partner in crime, because when you're and I'll never forget, our first REV coach said to us one time is just celebrate your successes too. Because they happen. It's easy to get bogged down. Don't let yourself. Celebrate the small successes along the way. That was really, I think, clutch to our success. I think that's been really helpful.
Well, and it's just been fun to be able to dream big and have that supported, where we could just kind of really brainstorm without any major obstacles in our way, and just kind of be like, what do we know is good for kids, and what can we make happen for all kids that come through here, not just now, but like we know this is going to happen for years to come. So that is just inspiring, like as a teacher, that you're like, oh, we get to do this. What do we want to do for kids? And so just knowing that is going to happen for our, we both live in this community. Our kids go into this district. Like we are in the local restaurants, at the soccer field, and knowing like people just coming up and being like, I'm so excited for my kid to get to come to that school and do that, do the ropes course, get to go on hikes, because they know their kids. And like we have a lot of kids who are nature smart, and now they're getting to develop that more, which is just great. And then kids who don't get that don't hike with their families, don't do things in nature, we are maybe helping them tap into something that they wouldn't have tapped into as a young person. So
REV allowed us to dream big. Like we have always been like, okay, like we can make this little grant happen, and like so we can maybe just build the pavilion, right? And because that's all we have the money for,
Yeah.
But this allowed us to go, like the innovation allowed us to just broaden it to a point where like it could really make a difference for every student in this building. And there's not much that can happen like that,
Not so quickly, over 2.5, 3 years, that like a lot happened in a short amount of time.
Seriously, to write a grant, like, I mean, I wrote another one for $1,000. MEA had $1,000, but like I wrote it for 15. They only gave me 1,000. So then you're like, okay, well, where am I going to get another $500? And then I'm like, okay, I'll write something for the PTO. So your teachers are always nickel and diming. You're like, okay, I need to figure out this, or I need $200 here. So you're like always.
And it's just not our main job. Like we are responsible for reading intervention for this whole school, and I'm the literacy coach supporting teachers with reading instruction, which is very, it's really important. So you can only give so much time, but because this is our passion, we're willing to give our own time to really do this. And so I think the value of the REV grant being able to value that and let us give some more time to that helped us be like, okay, we can do it. And not having to nickel and dime to be like, how are we going to fund this all?
Right.
So it was the energy of making it not happen, not like, how are we going to make that happen, which is exciting. I think all teachers make an attempt to be outside more with their students. Some teachers, it's really natural for them to want to be outside. It's just kind of their interests, their personal interests. But I think the professional development that we've been able to provide through REV has pushed them to see the benefits, just the social emotional, how kids can focus, how their attention can change when they're outside, and just allows them to be more active and tap into different modalities when they're outside. And so I think teachers have seen that and pushed themselves to go outside. We have 3 teachers who are enrolled in a certificate of advanced degree for outdoor learning through University of Maine Farmington, and I think this process of being able to provide the PD that we did got them excited and interested in it, so that's really awesome. So with teachers, they also, because of our spaces are really available to them, like we really focus a lot of our funding on creating sustainable spaces. Like it's easy for them. And so we know how hard teaching is, and we know how hard it is some days to get kids doing what you need them to do. And so having the funding to create spaces that make it a little bit easier for teachers to access was a huge part of what we wanted to do with the grant funding. So that's kind of like our teachers. Our kids love it. We only get to do Woodland and Wonder 6 times a year with each class. And we did that to have more equity, because some teachers, it's not their thing. Every teacher has their thing. And just the kids love it. They doing the citizen science projects, the hands-on learning, they're like really invested in thinking about like Maine's ecology. and just the team building that happens within their classrooms, because they have that special and kind of being able to do team building in a different way. Having the gear, having the spaces, kids know it's just kind of part of the culture, and I think that's been just really awesome.
So, like, I mean, just to kind of build off with regard to teachers, I think in addition to like the professional development they have received, it's also been able, like, we've been able with some of the REV funding to like support their development of specific units, integrating outdoor education into units that they already do. There's an amazing survival unit that's being conducted up in 4th grade, and it's a literacy unit, but they've integrated like shelter building. It's all based on survival, so it's like shelter building. They did like the transmission of codes using flashlights, and like so every Thursday during that unit of instruction they went outside to different spaces. And we also have expanded Wi-Fi now because of REV, so that the kids that need adaptations, including or accommodations like an audiobook instead of like, they can do that outside now, which they couldn't do that before. If I think about, so we talked a lot about at the school level kind of how REV has affected us, but also like at the district level, I think it's been really important that we've had some meetings with administration. We have a very supportive administrator here that has been super. It was interesting when I was like, oh, an administrator has to be on our team. I was like, well, why would that be? But now I know. I was like, oh, there's like, it made so much sense. Having a supportive administrator is very key, but he also paves the way for us to connect with not only administration at the district level, but also other key players, whether it's just someone who supports us with our financial piece and things like that. We have spoken at a couple of different board meetings, which I think has been really important, because we have a supportive school board. So if you think about sustainability, like how do we started with REV, we supported our relationship with UNH and the Brown Center. So the Brown Center came here, did every 4th grade classroom, had opportunities on site, and then they had a culminating field trip to the Brown Center where they engage in a high ropes course. So the school board is starting to see things like that as being essential and being willing and open to fund them, especially with the advocacy of Jerry, at those meetings. And I think personally, Thursday, Sarah and I say this all the time, Thursday is our favorite day. Mm-hmm. Like, we'll have classrooms, you can tell the classrooms that spend more time outside because they have more resilience. They can dig deeper to the question. So you see a lot of variability. But what is amazing is to be able to see from beginning to end of the year. You'll have blips where it's like, oh, the weather is a little tricky and so kids struggle a little bit more. But at the same time, you always see growth, always. And I think that's what's so amazing and rewarding as a teacher. That's what will keep me teaching, So personally, having this component to what we do, it allows me to connect with every student in this building, and see kids in a different